we're going to be discussing today how you guys can increase client and prospect engagement using a mobile application. So the idea is to cut through the noise, getting personalized content directly to your clients. Let me introduce myself. I'm Mike Gallup. I'm the commercial director here at Fliplet. And the agenda for today is, as you can see, so what are the key challenges faced by the marketing and BD professionals within a firm? Generally, it is, how do we engage with them prospects? How do we find opportunities that are going to lead to additional revenue for your firm? So getting that content out there. What current tools do we have? How are we currently trying to overcome that challenge? What are the pros and cons of these tools? And then we're going to look at the market trends. So how is the consumer market leading the way for engagement? What lessons can we learn from them? We're going to look at what makes a good client-facing app. We're going to look at things like personalization, UI, UX, the content and the personalization that we can include. How to improve that experience, thinking about things like offline ability, ease of use, analytics, things like that. And then the bit that most of you are probably going to be interested in is the case studies. We've got a number of case studies that we're going to show you from other firms who are kind of already quite a way down the line with understanding where mobile fits in with their kind of longer term marketing strategy. There is, of course, going to be just 2 slides on Fliplet. Who are we? What do we do? For those of you that don't know. And then there's going to be a Q&A. So please, with regards to Q&A, please use it. This is your opportunity to not only ask me any questions, but also we can encourage others to speak out if there's anything that you're interested in from the group of people on the call today. So please use the chat feature. I'm sure you don't need to be explained how that works, but also please do stay on mute when we have a recording. If you're not on mute and you cough, your face will pop up on the screen forevermore. So if you don't want to be kind of Insta famous, then please stay on mute until maybe we bring you in during the Q&A if you want to. But if you don't mind, like William, take his lead, put your camera on. It'd be lovely to see you. Nice to see people rather than just talking, that's it, rather than just looking at a screen of names. So if you are dressed and able to, then please do put your cameras on. So let's kick off, and I'm going to apologize in advance. All of you guys are very seasoned and professional marketeers, but I am going to kind of teach you to suck eggs a little bit just to set the scene for a few slides. So what is the key challenge for marketing and really BD teams across the legal sphere? Now, I would suggest that this is, as I mentioned before, is how do we engage with our clients more? How do we get them prospects to show interest in what it is that we have that's going to generate opportunities that will lead to additional revenue for our firms? So really, what are the objectives of your teams? We have to get the right content to the right audience at the right time. Not an easy feat. If it was, none of us would be in a job. Once we've delivered that right content to the right person at the right time, it has to engage with them. But how do we cater for personal preferences? Some people much prefer to watch a video, they like to read, they like to have an audio file. So we need to have multiple ways to ensure that we have the best chance of engaging with these people. Now, marketing isn't just one thing, it's multiple things. So generating these opportunities it takes multiple steps. First, it's attracting. How do we get people to show interest in what it is that we do? How do we then convert them into customers? Marketing also responsible for the branding. How do we ensure that our brand is represented by what it is we want that brand to be represented by? And then our existing clients, how do we delight them? How do we get them to come back and use us again for more and more and more work? And also, how do we get them to recommend us to other people as well? So when you mix all of that together, and most of the teams that I speak to within law are understaffed. They simply do not have enough people. So they do rely on a lot of technology in order to support them and try to make them as efficient as possible. However, that also costs lots of money, which they don't always have the budget for. So it's how do we make that budget go as far as possible in order to do the best job possible? And there are so many different trends out there. How do we stay on top of what it is that our clients are looking for? But also every single individual is different and they have different values. So we need to think about that. People today are very much looking for a personalized experience. And we're going to come on to that a little bit later on. But just some top level things. Why do we want to find these opportunities? Why do we want to increase revenue for the firm? Well, it's kind of simple, but it goes round. The more revenue we generate, the more the firm's able to invest in and grow the company. That upskills the workforce, brings on new skill sets, offers additional training. That means they can offer a better service to their clients. That leads to new clients joining. That increases the revenue, and so it goes on. So it's a vital department within the firm. Now, getting leads is not always easy. So we need to look at what that entails, getting the attention, cutting through the noise. What is it that we can do to try and get the attention of someone? Emails are a massive part of that, but then subject lines, they're so short. How do we make a subject line so compelling that someone actually clicks into that email? And obviously tons of emails are being sent. So how do we kind of stand out with whatever messaging we're sending? Once they've opened it, we've got to show them something that they're interested in. We need to be really clear on the value that can be delivered so that they don't have to fight to try and understand, why have you sent me this? I don't understand. Is it relevant to them? Is this something that is happening now? Is it something that they need to act upon? Is it something that is an FYI? We need to try and ensure that it's pertinent to them when it's pertinent to them. And again, everyone is different. With some topics, Brexit, GDPR, these were things that affected everyone. But actually every individual client that you have or prospective client may have different needs at different times. Well, how do we best ensure that we as a law firm are best aligned with what it is they're looking for? And then how do we make it really easy for them to engage with us so that we can help them? Now, when we're doing this, it does feed into lots of, there's much more to it than just sending emails or the words written on a page. A lot of what we do to engage involves the lawyers. The lawyers do a lot of this work. They meet with clients often. Their tone of voice will say a lot about the brand of the company as well as what their skill sets are. The value that's being delivered, is that the value that they was looking for? Is it generic advice or is it specific to the individual client or customer? So very quickly, because I know most of you are going to know all of this stuff, but please bear with me because it does kind of set the scene for where we're going. We're just going to look at how a few firms will approach, or most firms approach, engaging with clients and with prospective clients. So of course, first of all, there's the face-to-face. This is the preferred method, probably by lawyers, because they like getting face-to-face. They like being able to read the body language of the people, really understanding what it is that client is requiring right now. But it builds additional trust, the usual stuff that we know about. However, there has been quite a few cons to that. It does take additional time. It's expensive with travel. Maybe it's an event and you've got multiple people there. If you're out of the office, you don't always have access to the data that you may need in order to support the client there and then. Sometimes it's not appreciated by the clients. Maybe because of COVID, they've said you simply can't come in. And a lot of firms have closed off. They're not allowing staff in, let alone customers in. So face-to-face has been a real challenge. So if we look at the next most common one is, of course, we want to telephone someone. Let's stay in touch. A lot of firms have got key client teams. You're phoning up on a regular basis. And again, it's fast, it's personable, it's inexpensive, it's really easy to do and common. But if them calls are not planned, they can be quite disruptive. As a firm, we do lots of calls out to prospective clients. They're called cold calls, and they're not always welcome. Some people on the call today might have had several from me over the years, so apologies for that. So you can see how they're not always going to be found useful by the end client. Of course, the most popular one, email. These are free, really quick. We can do it en masse and it's instant being sent through. However, there are limitations to it. I spoke to one US firm and they said during the second lockdown in the US, they sent over 2 million emails, which great, they're pushing out tons. There was lots of information to share at that time. However, their open rate and their click-through rate went through the floor because it was just email overload. And William, you're the only one with your camera on, so give me a nod. Would you like more emails or less emails? I can read your lips, so just say more or less. Down, less emails. Okay, so we need to take that into consideration. So emails generally are, if they are mass mailings, if they're the kind of regular insights or update emails that a lot of firms send, they do lack a certain personal touch. They can be disruptive because, again, if you're in the middle of something and suddenly this email pops up and you're tempted to read it and it takes you away from what you was doing, sometimes it doesn't give enough information, so it could lead to misunderstandings. Of course, you've got virus protection, you've got spam boxes. They can be long. If it's too long, people don't engage. They think it's going to take too long, and we simply get too many of them. So I'm kind of saying all of the things that most of us are already doing, but not all of them are working as well as maybe they used to. Of course, our website is there to allow people to visit on an ad hoc basis. It's on demand. They can access them anytime they want, 24/7, really easy. But again, it's generic information. There's information overload. There's too much information sometimes, and people can easily get distracted going off into different tangents. And again, it's very difficult to personalize what's on your website because you're trying to cater for the unknown for pretty much everyone. And of course, it requires a connection. So actually, the only way to access that is really when you're on a desktop or when you've got access on your phone. So they're the most common methods. There may be a few others, but these are the kind of the big four ways that we currently are engaging. Now, what are we seeing with regards to market trends? So if you're anything like me, I use my phone way more than 3 hours, 15 minutes every day. It's one of them things. I mean, 58 times a day, I probably do 58 times before lunch. It's one of them things, it's just always there. Now, why is your personal mobile phone so important? It is the number one place that people go to consume news, whether that be from social media, whether it be from their news app for their particular region. It could be things that you're specifically interested in. It's all customized specifically for you. You know, if that phone bleeps or shows you something, it's because you've generally asked it to, unless it's a phone call from me cold calling you. So generally that phone, you know, is all about you. It's become the first place to go, the first thing people look at in the morning, the last thing they look at night. So you can trust it. Whereas an email is kind of, you feel like it's open. Any emails that come in are not specifically for me, they're just spam. Whereas on the phones, that's a lot less. So that personalization is critical. And if we look at examples like LinkedIn or Facebook, could you imagine going onto LinkedIn and it not being a filtered, catered list of just the things that you're interested in? Imagine if it was showing you stuff, just everything around the world, the billions of posts that get put every single day onto LinkedIn or onto Facebook. If you weren't able to curate that list to only show you the stuff that you're specifically interested in, they wouldn't even have a business. So it is about personalization of the information that that person wants. But also, it's about instant gratification. Nobody wants to wait for a website to load. I think there was a rule at one point about 2 years ago that said people will wait up to 5 seconds for a website to load. Now that's gone down to 2 seconds. That is just, we just expect instant gratification with regards to everything that we do. But also these applications, we get to choose how we consume different types of information. Do we prefer watching videos? Are we a TikTok fan, or are we a YouTube fan? Is that how you consume, watching videos of people explaining topics? Or do you prefer reading? Do you prefer graphics, audio files, podcasts? You are in complete control with your phone of how you consume that information. And why are they using the applications rather than the web? Have you ever tried to log on to LinkedIn and use LinkedIn without going via their app on your phone? If you haven't tried, try and access your email via the web browser as opposed to the app. It's not nice. And mobile apps are much easier to use. They're much more convenient. You know exactly where they are. Most people could, they can use their phone without even looking, because they know exactly where they've placed certain apps on their home screen. They load so much faster. Again, instant gratification. They work even if you're underground. They work offline, so you can still get the value that you want from them without having to have that internet connection. They're much safer. Apple and Google, to get anything into the Play Store or the App Store, is extremely difficult. They are gone through with a fine-tooth comb to ensure that they are safe for you guys to use. And quite simply, they look better. They're designed specifically to work on that device, so they look much better than a mobile website. But the other thing with this is when you compare it, some of the other options that we have. Now, previously, before even websites, we just used to share documents. It would be if we wanted to send someone something, and a lot of firms still do this, they will prepare a PDF. There's still a number of firms that will do a pitch document in a PDF, and they will send it to a client. The client then has to open or download that PDF in order to view it. And then if something changes, they say, no problem. They adjust the PDF, they make a new copy, they send that through. Trying to keep track of the version numbers and whatever, it just takes forever. We're seeing more and more firms are delivering their pitches just via a link. They click on a link and it opens up a web app. It's completely secure. And if there's a change that needs to be made, they make it live, they hit refresh, it's live on their page. No more version control, no more challenges, much more engaging, much more interactive. But you can see here a lot of the reasons why documents are no longer working, and why apps have really taken the lead in the way that people engage. And let's look at a case study now, because I've done a lot of talking, but let's have a look at what a firm has already done. So Clifford Chance, a Magic Circle law firm. These guys do a lot more than just employment law. I'm not sure if anyone from Clifford Chance is on, doesn't look like it. But these guys produce this app along with a suite of applications in the public app store that you can look at. This is specifically on one topic. Now, why have they chosen to do that? Well, the same reason all applications should be produced. It's to keep it simple. It's very specific in what it can do. Think about your banking app with your, I bank with HSBC, and on the app, I couldn't live without it. But all I can do is check my balance and transfer money. But HSBC as an organization do 1,000 different things. But this app is designed just to do one thing very well. And that's the thing I'm interested in. So Clifford Chance have decided that with regards to employment law, they want to be seen as a thought leader, as a market leader with regards to this. So they want to support their clients. They was also aware that they was getting lots of low-level inquiries, things that weren't necessarily leading to a decent paid work. Therefore, they thought, well, hang on a minute, if we can allow our customers to self-serve to a large degree, get them initial answers from us, then maybe they will come to us afterwards with specific work that actually is worth doing, is that high value work. So they produced this application. It allowed their customers to compare different laws in different jurisdictions, much better than searching Google. But once they'd found the information, they gave them a shortcut through to the experts within Clifford Chance. So that lead generation opportunity was there as well as the analytics of seeing, well, what are people interested in? What are they comparing one thing to another? That led to additional insights into maybe we could write a white paper on how maybe discrimination is different in France as it is to the UK, because there's lots of searches going on around that now. So that analytics piece really helps them. But the key bit for the end user was the second bullet point that I've put there, which is they were able to subscribe to alerts that were relevant to them. It wasn't just every time there was an update to the hours of work aspects of employment law that they was just pinged and it was just becoming annoying with notifications and just a news feed that wasn't relevant. The individual user was able to set their own preferences. What is it that they want to be alerted by so that they can engage with it? And if they've suddenly that topic is no longer of interest, they can turn it off. So a really clever, good app from Clifford Chance. If you're looking to create an app, what makes a great app? So there's a few key bits here. So onboarding, you need to tell people what the value is of the app that you're producing. Why should they use it and how should they use it? Direct them to the specific points that are going to add value to the user of the app. Now, good UI UX is an obvious one, but trust me, there are so many different ways of achieving this. And the UX UI on a mobile website or on any website is very different to the UI UX on a mobile app. So you need to think about that. Does your app look like one of the latest and greatest apps on the App Store? Is it in keeping? If it's not, you're unlikely to get people to engage with it. Engaging content, of course. Static content can be seen as boring. So think about mixing it up. Think about using some text, maybe some images, some videos, some charts, some audio. Give people the choice in how they want to engage with that information. You can include tools, things like assessments, tests, quizzes, benchmarking. I'm going to come on to that in just a little bit more. But things that make it relevant and puts that customer or that client in the driving seat. They're actually, rather than being just generic information, it's how does that kind of affect that client in particular. Updates, of course, if it's out of date, people are going to very quickly lose trust in it. So make sure that the updates come through regularly. One of the biggest things that they have to make sure it comes through at that timely moment. Personalization, I think we've covered, but also push notifications, again, allowing that user to decide what content they want. How many people here have received push notifications on their phone so often that they end up just turning them off? I get it. Pizza Hut. Wow, they must think I eat a ton of pizzas. Every single day I must get something through from Pizza Hut. In the end, I just turned it off because I wasn't interested. Analytics, ensure that where possible and where within the GDPR guidelines or CCPA, where you can have analytics, put it on. It gives you so much information with regards to how your app is being used, what are the features that are most valuable, and how you can refine that so you know where to focus the attention. And then brand, again, this is representing your brand, and most brands have their kind of brand guidelines document for exactly how their logo can be used and things like that. Most don't have branding set out for how their mobile presence will look. So it's something to start thinking about. Branding is huge when it comes to apps. Let me give you some examples. Here is an example of inconsistent branding. Now, these are two of the big four. Now, if you look on the App Store and you saw this, it would be, I'm sure their branding team must be having kittens. None of the apps look like they were built by the same people. They're all over the shop. I'm sure they're all extremely powerful, great apps, but they don't necessarily represent the brand. And then another two of the big four, these guys seem to have got it right. They've followed their brand guidelines. All of their applications are, you can tell they are all done using some kind of platform, maybe, I don't know, I couldn't possibly say, but allows them to produce applications and stay within the brand guidelines. So think about that when you are looking to build out a mobile strategy around your marketing. So let's get back to the content stage of things. So again, enabling the key aspects, and I've put a couple of screenshots here. These are just from our website, really, but it kind of shows how you can have different channels that your users can turn on and turn off to choose how they receive notifications. Sometimes it's from within the phone. Sometimes they would prefer an email to alert them, a text message even, but allow them to do it. If you just bombard them with tons and tons of information, they're not going to fight to find the stuff that's relevant and understand how it's relevant. Please do use multiple forms of communication. So with us, we've recently launched a new list component that allows you to add audio and video directly into a newsfeed. So make use of that, give them different options and ways to consume information. The main one of these interactive tools, again, when people are reading information, when they're kind of digesting the information that's put through in their mind, they're trying to work out how this relates to them. So VAT is going up by 1%. They're thinking, okay, what does that mean to me? Yes, thank you for the news, but what does that mean to me? So having tools maybe like a calculator, like a benchmarking, where they can answer a few questions and find out how they are performing compared to other people in their circumstances. Or assessments. This was big when GDPR was coming around. How compliant are we? You answer a few questions, you get told you're 74% compliant, but then it gives you advice on what you can do or who you can contact in order to help you get more compliant, hence the expert list that's there. So it's always, what does this mean to me? So when you're thinking about putting that content out there, maybe it's an app for a specific reason, for a specific topic, might even be for a specific event. Allow that user to take that information and make it relevant to them. So we've spoken quite a lot about how these apps are good for your clients and make sense, add value to them. But what does it do for your firm? Well, of course, brand awareness, we've already seen that part of once your firm is seen as that market leader within a particular subject. I remember there was one app, and I think it was built by Latham Watkins. It was like a directory of terms for a specific, maybe M&A or something. And I was in another law firm's office and everyone had this app on their phone. They're like, we don't need to build it because this law firm built it and everyone uses it, and it's great because it has all of the terminology that we need. And it was like, fantastic, but could you do it any better? And actually, for you, that may work, but are you happy having someone else's brand on your phone when you work for a competitor? So understanding that logo being, on your client's phone, knowing that that is popping up and giving them that advice on demand or when they've asked for it is invaluable. Think about the tools that are going to help that client to engage. And of course, the benefit is that lead generation, knowing who's done what, encouraging them to contact you to get additional advice or support. The analytics will help you to understand which parts of your marketing strategy are working, what parts of that application, what particular topics within employment, for example, are most popular this month. What trend analysis can we get? What assumptions can we make going forward? And of course, keeping it up to date is so easy. If you produce a PDF report, and a lot of US firms build 50 state reports on a regular basis, but they're a point in time. Literally, as soon as that is produced, it's probably out of date. So having something that's much more in a digital format, much easier to update, means your clients are always getting the most up-to-date information. So no one else has got their camera on. So William, just give me a nod. Was that at all helpful? It was. Thank you. You're literally speaking for everyone on this call. Thank you very much. Let's look at some case studies, shall we? Because we want to know what other firms are doing. So I've got 5. I've got Deloitte, King & Spalding, Kennedy, Skadden, and Hill Dickinson. All of these apps are in the public app store. So if you've got your phone, and I will be asking you to get your phone out in about 10 minutes time. So get your phone in your hand if it's not already. And if you go onto the app store, you'll be able to see all of the apps and have a play with some of them. First of all, Deloitte. So Deloitte, massive firm. They pretty much do everything. Obviously, one of the big 4, moving into law more and more and more. This one is specifically in regards to indirect tax. It's had over 10,000 downloads. It really is just an advice app for one specific topic, but it does give you access to all of the experts. It's regularly updated. It has some really good reviews. They've only just, I think it was July, they've done a rebrand of it and relaunched it. And again, it's in the public app store, no login. What's also great is it's in multiple languages. So you can very quickly at the top, you may be able to see it's got EN and AR. So do you want it in English or do you want it in Arabic? So if we've got any firms that, we work with quite a few Canadian firms who are doing English and French, but wherever you've got offices or clients, you can build the application to work in multiple languages. So that's a real good app from Deloitte. And they just won our app of the month for this month. So well done, Deloitte. Kennedy's a UK firm. This is a recent addition to the App Store. This application is trying to, so everyone's used an event app when they've been to, things like ILTA or LMA, big event. What they've done here is they've built one application that houses all of their events. So even the events that are just, 20 people coming to their office or even a webinar, every single event is registered within this one app. Once you register, the app then adds in all of the other features that you would normally expect to see in an event app. So the agenda, details about the speaker, the potential to ask questions, have live polls, all of that information, but is done multiple times. Plus, there's recordings of historical documentation, presentations, additional support materials can all be housed within this one application, making it really easy. It's the one place to go. Previously, their events were listed on their website, but not necessarily all in one place. Again, you had to work to find the event that was relevant to you. Well, now it's all in one place. So again, really positive, a new application from Kennedy's. King & Spalding, again, a very specific topic just for private clients. So it's, again, industry knowledge. It allowed you to complete various surveys to see exactly how you are doing with regards to whatever topic they were covering. Specific articles and case studies all available on there, and quick access to, again, the team, that lead generation opportunity to directly contact them. Previously, it was possible to find that information. You could open up your browser on your phone. You can search for King & Spalding. You can go to their website. You can try and navigate to try and find the particular person you're looking for. Now it's made very easy within a simple app. The marketing team over at Skadden over in New York, these guys produced this application a number of years ago. The application previously was 3 3-inch binders. These were high quality that they would obviously print out, and they were correct at the time of going to print, and then they would ship them out to their customers, their political law clients. It cost an absolute fortune to do so. It was cheaper to buy Fliplet than it was to actually print and distribute these guides that they sent out. But not only that, now they've got something that's searchable. The equivalent is you guys using Google to find a plumber, or using Yellow Pages, for those of you that remember Yellow Pages. I know William does. You remember Yellow Pages, yeah. So, now it's a really easy and quick application to update. So the management internally is very easy to do. And from a client point of view, it's always up to date. They can very quickly search and find the information. This particular app you can download from the App Store, but you won't be able to log in because it's reserved just for their clients. So all of these applications so far have all been very single point of contact, one topic, one specific area of law. But this firm did something a bit different. So Hill Dickinson, they built a portal. They decided that they just want to have one application, but within that application were additional applications. So they included, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different topics, all within one application. So rather than having to have different apps taking up real estate on your client's phone, now you're able to give them just one, and it has different applications. So as you clicked into shareholder rights, it would be an app within an app, and it would have all of the same features and functionality. And then if you wanted to leave and go into Draw and Raid, so again, that's another option. You need to weigh up what works best for you. Are there certain applications that actually work well being grouped together? And are there some that actually are so separate that we will keep them as individual applications? So again, they have a great video for you to watch that talk about and promote it. Deloitte have a great video that explains their one as well. Eversheds have some great videos on their applications to explain the videos. So all of that can be done to support and increase the engagement levels and actually getting people to download and understand the value of these applications. So hopefully there are 5, I think with the Clifford Chance one, there's 6 case studies of where other firms have already started their journey into understanding where mobile fits within their marketing strategy. These are just a few of the many that are out there. And again, if you search the App Store, you'll find that more and more firms are realizing that actually mobile is how the industry is going. Pretty much every other industry out there has got a number of applications already out there. Law just seems to be slowly catching up, but it's been boom time. As you know, no code, low code tools, legal tech, everything is going through the roof. So everyone is inundated with new technology, new opportunities, but mobile is absolutely not going anywhere. So if you haven't yet started your journey into understanding exactly how mobile fits in, whether that be for client facing solutions or whether it be internally, how can we make more use with all of the millennials and is it Gen X, Gen Y? I forget which gen it is now, but everyone is obsessed with their phones. So if you haven't started that journey, I do suggest that you do. So when we come back to, this was a HubSpot survey, the challenges that are faced by marketeers, generating leads and traffic is key, but also the measuring. How do we measure that ROI of the work that we're actually doing? I think securing enough budget should be a bigger percentage. I think especially in law, I don't know any marketing teams that go, no, do you know what? I think I'm all right. I think I've got a fair amount for the work that we do or the size of team. I think even my marketing team would agree that they don't get enough budget. But if you can generate more ROI that is very easily able to measure, then that's obviously going to be a good thing. Now, I'm not suggesting that a mobile app will replace any of your existing channels of communication, but what they are is a targeted way to get qualified lead, offer additional insights and real value to your prospects and to your clients. It also builds that brand awareness and does allow you to stand out from the competition. So if you do decide that you want to build an application, think about the success metrics. How are you going to measure whether or not that particular app was useful? Now, I mentioned someone like Clifford. They don't just have one application. Some applications will be more popular than others. The Deloitte VAT GCC app, 10,000 downloads. Others, a few hundred. You need to understand, what does good look like to you? So first of all, what is the problem you're trying to solve? How are your clients going to get value from what it is that you produce? Are they already getting value? Are they happy with everything you're doing and you couldn't possibly improve? Or are there other activities? And it's worth asking that question. Most people don't know what they want until they see it. So if you're able to prototype and show them something and get feedback from key clients, it's worth doing it. What's the benefit to the individual user? How is having an app better than an email? Is it going to save that user time? Will it give them the answers that they're looking for quicker? If it doesn't, maybe an app is not the right solution for you. What value is the firm going to receive? Is this going to save us money, like in the Scadden case? Is it going to, we don't no longer need to print and distribute and spend lots of time updating this? Maybe it's a process optimization. Maybe it's collecting information. There was another case study on our website from a Scottish law firm, Burness Paul, where they built a wills app, allowing people to update and start the process of getting a will. But we're also talking to firms about conveyancing, and there's just loads of processes that potentially are still either PDF led or just generally outdated paper processes. Could they be optimized with a digital format, saving lots and lots of time for the firm? Who is the intended audience? Is it just clients? Is it prospective clients? Is it just in the public app store? Is it just internal? Think about who that audience is, and also how are they going to access and how are they going to be aware of the application? What's the marketing around the solution that you produce going to happen? But do they even want it? Again, it comes back to asking the question of the clients. Would it be useful if you could do this? If maybe start keeping a track of what are the requests that are coming in from your clients or prospective clients? What information are they asking for initially that maybe is or isn't leading to high value work? Once you analyze that, then you can say, well, 20% of all the inquiries that come in are in relation to this. If we were to be able to produce an application that allowed them to answer that, it saves us having to get distracted by the low level work. So is it quicker? Can you use it to engage more and get additional feedback and the analytics for your firm to improve upon? And I think lastly, just expectations. What are you expecting? Do you expect to compete like the Deloitte and have 10,000 plus downloads of your app? Or are you happy with the Scadden one, where it's only designed for our political law clients and therefore 200 downloads is a great number? You guys need to think about what is going to be the key success measure for whatever it is that you produce. So hopefully that's covered off quite a lot of the points that I wanted to make around how mobile fits in with your marketing campaign. For those of you that don't know, a quick overview of Fliplet. So Fliplet is a platform that enables anyone to create these powerful solutions using pre-built components. So it's very much a drag and drop platform, but it does have the optional ability to add code. So it means that your marketing team can produce an application, and then if they need additional functionality added, your IT or your developers can build on top of what we have. But it means the bulk of the work can be done by the department that is most interested in that solution. We've worked with over 65 law firms, as well as large Big Four enterprise professional services businesses. So we've got a lot of experience. And generally, our platform enables that unlimited apps that you want to be able to try something, prototype something, put it in front of a customer, fail fast, learn, understand, see how your mobile strategy is going to evolve. What you don't want to do is put all of your eggs in one basket, go to an agency, spend 6 months planning out exactly what you want this app to do. An agency builds it, probably not quite right, because what project ever runs to plan, launch it only to find out that for whatever reason, the client goes, no, it's not what I meant. And then you go, oh, and we've all had that situation before. So being able to rapidly build something, put it in front of a customer very quickly, I'm talking within days, and then them go, no, that's not what I meant. And you go, brilliant, now I know what you don't want. Can we move this on to maybe what you do want? So it needs to be a platform that is fast and anyone can do it. But of course, it needs to offer the ability to add additional code if you want it. You cannot have a platform that has any restrictions on where it can go. Obviously, secure, being able to integrate with existing systems. If you're a high Q customer, we're seeing more and more integrating to be able to collect information from the customer and deliver that directly into the iSheets within HiQ. That's becoming more and more popular. It gives a new aspect and a new medium to your clients. Of course, they work everywhere. Check out Evershed's Employment and Pensions Guide. It's on the App Store for iOS, for Android, but it's also on their website. So you can use exactly the same app on their website as you can on a mobile device. And again, ensure that analytics are there to be able to track everything that you do want to track. So now I'm going to ask you to pull your phones out if you haven't already, because I want you to scan this QR code. Again, QR codes are huge. They are being used for more and more payment methods. Most of you will be used to this because if you're going into bars, clubs, restaurants during lockdown, you've had to scan a QR code to pull up the menu or scan the QR code to order drinks to your table, all of these types of things. So please do take a second, scan the QR code. It'll only take 1 minute to fill in the survey. We want to be able to deliver as much value back to you guys as possible. So scan it, answer a few questions. Whilst you're doing that, I'm going to ask my colleague, the lovely Lisa, if there are any questions that have come in from you guys. So Lisa, are there any questions?
Yes, Mike, there are. So the first one that we had through is, can you speak to how to manage the private client login process?
Yes, the majority of firms will use some kind of qualification. So for example, in the back end of Fliplet, you would add your client's email address. When the client goes to log in, there will be an email input screen. As they enter that, it will then send a 6-digit code through to the client's email address. They then need to enter that 6-digit code in order to access the application. Or you can set, dependent on the type of application, that's obviously if it's sensitive data, you can also set a password and you can give that to your client. Say use password 1234 and they can access the application. Does that answer the question? Maybe if it doesn't, or you'd like other suggestions, then feel free to ask.
The answer is yes, it does. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yes, great. So with the Deloitte app, there were over 10,000 installs. Do you have install stats for the other case studies?
No, I took that by looking at the App Store. I just went on and it said for Google, over 5,000, and Apple no longer has it. But when we did last look, it was over 5,000. And when we've spoken to them, I mean, I'm saying over 10,000 because that was a couple of years ago. But yeah, I literally took that information from there. I could look at our own data, but I haven't. And again, a lot of them are designed for specific audiences. So again, the individual firms will be aware of what they class as success. And if they've only had 50 downloads, they're like, we don't care, because the 50 people that have downloaded it are our key clients and they're the ones that we're interested in. So everyone has different levels. So I wouldn't want to skew the figures by trying to make something sound good or bad, dependent on the number of downloads.
Okay, cool. And there's another question that probably follows on, which is about app statistics and performance. So how often can you see reports, or how customizable are they in Fliplet?
So the analytics is live. As soon as you launch an application, the analytics starts to be recorded, if that's what you mean. You decide what analytics you want, or whether you want them at all, because in some cases you won't want to collect analytics, but it can go into the actions of individual users. So I could zoom in on exactly Lisa logged in, and I can see every screen that you went to, all of your survey results for a specific person. Or you can look more high level to see maybe when is the app used. I can see that at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, is when most people access the application, or that particular news story was more popular than all of the others. There's lots of data that you can pull, but you can also send that information to other analytic sites or on-prem for you to cut and dice however you want to in order to understand the value of it.
Okay, great, thank you. And our another question is, do the apps have organic reach and downloads, or are they heavily promoted?
No, absolutely. If they're on the Google Play Store, then yes, they will add to your SEO capabilities. So that's why we encourage you to build individual apps as opposed to portals, because Hill Dickinson had 7 apps all in one. If they'd had 7 individual apps, that's 7 times as much SEO that they could be getting. So yes, they can.
And I think the extension of that is about promotion of apps. So whether people are firms are needing to promote their apps in order to gain more users.
They absolutely have to. Absolutely have to, because it's still relatively new. People don't naturally think, oh, I know, I'll see if that firm, does my law firm have an app on employment law? It's not a standard thing. It is in the rest of the world. If I go for car insurance, I expect them to have an app so that I can manage my car insurance. But within law, it's not as common. So yes, that firms do a lot of promotion, and we help with that, because it's getting the message out, it's getting people to understand the value. The best people to promote your application is the partners. And normally it's the partners that when they see this and they understand it, they can't wait to tell their clients about it, because it is just such a valuable tool, for a particular practice. So yes, lots of promotion is done by individual firms in order to push it out for client-facing apps. Absolutely.
Great. And the last question is how time-consuming is it to push regular updates to the app? To an app? Yeah.
Not time-consuming at all. You make the change, you click a button, and then you can push. We have different types of updates. So you can send out silent updates that just happen in the background. You can do others that are request that the person physically click a button so that they know that an update has happened. But it literally takes seconds to do. In some cases, if you wanted to, for example, change the name of your app or the image of your icon, you may need to resubmit it back through to Apple. So therefore that can be cumbersome. But the majority of times in-app updates are pretty much instant and very easy to do.
Okay, that's all the questions. Thank you.
Brilliant. Okay, well, we're bang on time. I just got a couple of minutes to tell you about some new webinars that we have coming up. And the first one, any of you on the call now, I strongly recommend that you join this one. This is our CEO talking about our roadmap. So what have we launched over the last 6 months? And what have we got planned for the next 6 months? There are so many things on there, honestly, really exciting. If you've got technical guys as well, invite them to come and see what it is that we're doing. It's really cool. And then I'm back in a couple of weeks' time talking about similar apps, but this time for internal use. So what internal solutions are there? So there'll be lots of talk around improving the processes and collaboration, and showing you again case studies of where other firms have produced stuff for internal use. And then there's the productivity and engagement tools for lawyers. So we've talked about client-facing stuff, and then we'll talk about internal comm stuff, and then it's the stuff that lawyers can use to be better at their jobs. And there's some great examples from award-winning firms who have built applications for exactly that reason. There seems to be a lot of focus on how do we make lawyers aware of all of the things that the firm does in order to make them more efficient. And you can find more information on the fliplet.com/webinars. So, William, have you got your hand up there?
I have indeed, yes. Just a quick question.
Sure.
About 18 months ago, I set up my little company, which the idea was that we were going to build PWAs for our clients. So we've been through quite a steep learning curve, got partners coming from over the world, etc., etc. So now at the point to talk to clients, etc. but we're beginning to join things up a little bit more as well. So, for example, in an hour's time, I've got a conversation with an estate agent in Birmingham, and the idea is to join up QR to videos to a PWA. Now, I'm already, thinking about what kind of support Fliplet will give me as a reasonably technically proficient person, but not an expert, and also as well, what training, what levels of training can you help me with to impart information to clients once the app's up and running?
Great question. So we have invested a lot of time recently into our support documentation. We've got more and more videos, not only on how to get started, but on specific components. We also have the help chat button on the website, which you can just go onto, and there are very competent people on there. You can ask specific questions and they will come back to you with that additional support. Of course, if you're an existing enterprise client, then you will have an account manager and a customer success manager assigned to you, which you can then contact directly at any time. We can offer additional training for our enterprise clients outside of our accelerator program, which is the program where we kind of onboard you as an enterprise client. So lots of things that we can do. If you're then getting to the stage of are you wanting your clients to maintain the application themselves?
Well, I'm sure they're going to be competent and incompetent people. It just depends on the individual. I mean, to be honest with you, we're still on the learning journey as to what level of commitment we give to a client and what they're prepared to pay, or whether in fact they've got somebody within their organization who's competent enough to do it. Because I don't think we're looking for technical people. We're just looking for competent people who are good with administration, good administrators.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. First port of call is the help button on the website, and they will direct you to a lot of our support materials. And if there are support materials missing for your specific need, let us know and we get them prepared. The other thing that we've just launched is a community. So we now have a community page that you can go onto, and you can pose the question. And actually, rather than just Fliplet answering your question, you can ask our existing clients and the wider community who are using our free accounts to get the answers. So you can hear and discuss ideas around what people are doing on the platform. So that may be something else to look at. Good. Okay, well, best of luck anyway, William, and thank you for having your camera on. It's been nice to see someone as well. I appreciate that. So guys, thank you ever so much for joining us this afternoon. The video will be made available on our website if you want to watch it back. But if you have any questions, inquiries, or you'd like to understand more, if you've got an idea for an application, you want to run it by us, please do reach out. Thank you ever so much for your time and have a great rest of your day.